Jesse has valiantly offered to step forward as tribute, and he is going to explain to you why Marc-Andre Fleury got the Oscar in The Revenant. So,
That's
Jesse,
true.
can you explain your thoughts on Marc-Andre Fleury and his Vezina Trophy win this season announced yesterday?
Well, last night, there's probably only two stories that came out of the NHL awards. Connor McDavid is the first unanimous Hart Trophy winner since Wayne Gretzky. And then Marc-Andre Fleury wins the Vezina over Andrei Vasilevskiy, which, as Adam referenced, is exactly like the Leonardo DiCaprio's Revenant win in the 2015 Oscars, because it wasn't that he won for his best performance or that even he was the most deserving that year,
or even the movie was good.
The movie was good, you know. But it was more of a lifetime achievement award.
Yeah,
and especially when we look at the stats this year, the basic numbers: 31, 10, and 1 for Vasilevskiy, 26 and 10 for Fleury. Shutouts were 6-5 for Fleury. There you go. Save percentage, Fleury got it in 928, Vasilevskiy 925. But if you look at the play, you look at goals saved above average, which is essentially the war for goalie goals, like how many goals you saved above the baseline of 0. Vasilevskiy was 20.96. Fleury was only a 20.12. And then if you go to like really bad starts, this is from Hockey Reference. They do an amazing job with these advanced numbers. They have this little category. It's called really bad starts. It's when you start a game and you finish with a save percentage below 850. Vasilevskiy did it 0 times this season.
How many Fleury?
Fleury had 3 starts. And by the way, Martin Jones led the league with 12.
Oh, Maroon. My God, this guy.
Martin Jones is bad.
Goalie share points as well. That's number of points contributed by a goalie due to his play in goal. Vasilevskiy was first in the league at 9.6. Fleury was 5th with 8. So the numbers are very close.
Are you saying that Vasilevskiy has the edge?
The numbers are very close, and that's why Marc-Andre Fleury was able to get the Vezina this year. But the edge that was given to him was the fact that he's 36, he hasn't won a Vezina yet, and that when he walks into the Hall of Fame, on his resume is going to be a Vezina Trophy. We're running out of the number of years where Marc-Andre Fleury could win a Vezina. So in this year where it's so close, and the fact that there's ways to justify his victory, the tie goes to the guy who's probably not going to be up for the award anytime soon, again, because his career is ending. And the 26-year-old, as opposed to 36-year-old, loses out by a hair.
So here's the question then. Are we going to give it to the best goalie, or are we going to give it to a guy who's played really well for a long time? What does the NHL want to do?
The award is voted on by the GMs. So I feel like that's important in this instance, because it's not by the hockey writers or the coaches or anything. It's specifically the 31 GMs get the 31 votes for the award. And if we're being honest in this conversation, I feel like they would lean towards more the Lifetime Achievement Award for the Vezina that would go to Fleury. And like it's very indicative of the voting for the All-Star teams that came out last night too, because Vasilevskiy was voted to the first team All-Star team. He was the starting goalie for the starting 5 there, and Marc-Andre Fleury was voted to the second team All-NHL team.
And so, listen, I'm not too upset about this, but the only category Jesse mentioned there, the only category you mentioned that Marc-Andre Fleury had the edge was shutouts.
Yeah, it was 6-5.
That was the only one.
Yeah. So, and like save percentage, he was ahead by 3 percentage points. It was 928 to 925.
And they're both on first place teams. So. Yeah.
I think I found the problem.
What's the problem?
So I'm looking at the voting, the Vezina voting. Myrtle posted it. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different goalies got a first place vote. Semyon Varlamov got 1. Connor Hellebuyck got 2, and Philip Grubauer got 2. And Grubauer was nominated. Mm-hmm. I look at the points. Fleury had 108. Vasilevskiy had 99. That's actually not that far apart. Mm-hmm. Fleury had 14 first place votes. Vasilevskiy had 12. So that's pretty close too. Fleury had 11 second place votes. Vasilevskiy had 12. That's pretty close. Fleury had 5 third-place votes, and Vasilevsky's had 3. Hey, that's pretty close. Wait a minute. 12 plus. There were 4 GMs in the National Hockey League that did not have Andrei Vasilevskiy as a top 3 goalie in the NHL this year.
I hope they're not running my team.
Yeah.
I sure as shit hope they're not running my team. There was 1 GM in the entire NHL who didn't have Fleury on their ballot. Assuming there were 31. I don't think Francis would have gotten a vote.
There were 31 votes.
31. So 4 general managers do not think Andrei freaking Vasilevskiy was a top 3 goalie in the NHL.
That's scary. Okay, question. Do we know which ones? Like, I know Lou Lamoriello was the one that gave Semyon Varlamov the first place vote. Not that he didn't deserve it, but we know I'm saying that, but that's an Islander self-vote. So we can knock that off the record. My question is, like the Professional Hockey Writers Association, which posts who voted for what, does the NHL post who voted for Vezina?
No, we just have the numbers. We don't know which GM specifically voted.
That would be really telling.
Yeah,
I'm really curious about that.
UC Saros received 8 votes. No first place. He had 1 second and 7 thirds.
Get down to who's in number 7.
And Mike Smith with 2 third-place votes.
That's an abomination. Like, that should not happen.
But
why is Mike Smith on the Vezina Trophy voting?
Because he started the season 9-0, Jesse.
Okay.
That's why. 6-0 or whatever the hell it was.
So Vasilevskiy, he's already got 1 Vezina, I believe. Mm-hmm. So he was robbed of a second one, and I feel like it just needs to be acknowledged that when Marc-Andre Fleury goes into the Hall of Fame, nobody's going to remember that the year he won his Vezina, he probably shouldn't have won it. But Vasilevskiy, your trophy is waiting for you in the future.
And it's Jesse, it's not the worst Vezina of all time.
What is that?
Definitely not.
Jose Theodore?
I've brought it up more than once. I'm going to do it again. Every now and then, they just decide, you know what? We're bored of this guy winning all the time. Let's vote for someone else. 94, Dominik Hasek. 95, Dominik Hasek. 97, Dominik Hasek. 98, Dominik Hasek. 99, Dominik Hasek. Did you notice me skip a year?
Yes.
That's because in 1996, they decided to give it to Jim the Net Detective Carey, who had a 906 save percentage and just a kind of good record on the Washington Capitals. He was 35-24-9, which is good.
It's good.
It's good.
Not 40 wins. It's good.
What? Dominik Hasek. Jim Carey won a Vezina in a National Hockey League that had Dominik Hasek, Martin Brodeur, Patrick Waugh, Curtis Joseph. Are you serious? Ed Belfour. All 5 of those guys were playing, and he won a Vezina during that time. It's the worst. It might be the single worst award ever awarded in the National Hockey League.
No, Jerome McGinley not getting the Hart Trophy in 2004.
So there was an argument for Theodore. Now, I don't know if these you know what? We'd actually be able to find this out on Hockey Reference, but it might take too long to do it.
It'll take too long.
So I think Hockey Reference has the votes. Theodore had a very, very, very good season. Jerome McGinley had a very, very, very good season. But the allegation that I've heard many times out Calgary way is there was a writer, allegedly a Montreal writer, who left McGinley off their ballot entirely.
Oh,
and that's why he lost.
Oh, and okay, that's part of the reason. You've told that before. Probably part of the reason why we have writers who now have to put their results out there, right?
Yeah, and kudos. Frank Saravalli, I think, is the head of the Pro Hockey Writers Association, and today he tweets. He's like, "Hey, here's the full. You can check out everyone's vote." Everyone's vote. And I appreciated Andrew Berkshire's tweet. Did you see that one?
Well, okay. Yes. It was, Rob Rossi from The Athletic was talking about how there was an anti-Penguins bias. That Crosby wasn't going to win the Hart. Now, I don't know that I don't think Rob got a vote this year. Did he get a vote?
I mean, every member of that organization puts it in their bio. Let me see. Keep going.
Anyway, long story short, The Hart Trophy voting, obviously unanimously McDavid, because of course it was. Even the Pittsburgh writers were on board with that. No one can doubt that. By the way, I just want to remind you that Connor McDavid hasn't won the Hart Trophy against certain people in the past, and that's going to be a travesty. I point you back to
this should have been McDavid's third Hart Trophy. Instead, it was only his second, because he should have won the one that Draisaitl won,
and he should have won the one that Hall won.
He should have won the Calder that Panarin won.
Yes.
I don't remember the Hall year.
The Hall year was 2017, and the reason he didn't get it is New Jersey made the playoffs, and the Edmonton Oilers didn't, and people use that as a legitimate argument as to why Connor McDavid was not the most valuable player to the Oilers. What a fucking joke that was.
I think McKinnon should have won that year, not McDavid. I think that's where my stance landed.
I thought McKinnon. Yeah, I remember that year.
Yeah,
I remember
you guys can eat me, Connor McDavid.
It was McKinnon's year.
Rob Rossi is not just in the PHWA, but he is the Eastern Conference rep.
So I'm going to assume that Rob Rossi did not give Sidney Crosby a first place vote for the Hart.
Nope. Can you imagine? Okay, if you want to commit to the bit, can you imagine how great it would be today if McDavid had 99 and Crosby had the 1 and it was Rossi?
Rob Rossi. You know what? I want to have him on to ask him why. I want to ask him why he didn't. Don't you want to ask him? I want to know. Be like, Rob.
I think we know.
Rob, also, Rob, did you fight Barry Trotz? Because we all remember that video too.
Self-internalized hatred of Pittsburgh.
Oh, man. You know, that's the problem, is that Pittsburgh just does not get enough attention. We do not talk enough about how talented the Penguins are, and have not for the last 15 years.
Per capita, Pittsburgh gets a ridiculous amount of attention.
Yes. For what is, quote unquote, a small market team. A very successful, talented, incredible small market team.
Sure.
But they are a small market team in comparison to the rest of the teams in the NHL. Hey, listen, we got to move on. Matthews and McKinnon were 2 and 3 in Hart voting, by the way. I was actually surprised to see Matthews above McKinnon, but good for him. Great accomplishment. It's going to be tough for Austin Matthews to win anything in the Connor McDavid era.